I mean, how many civilians are we allowed to watch die? No. Israel has a right to defend itself. Well, what exactly does that mean?
Israel stated. Hang on. One of Israel stated. It is, but let me just say, you didn't answer my question. No, John, you didn't answer my question. No, I want you to answer this question. No, John, I want you to answer this question.
So, Michael's question is: in Northern Ireland, we've learned that talking is key to conflict resolution. How do we encourage talks in the Middle East?
Yeah, and I think it's a very good way to frame the question, because talking is key, and it's not, in this case, as simple as just going straight to talking. We need to create the circumstances where dialogue is possible. And if we take the 7th of October, every person that I've heard right across the world has rightfully condemned what was a deliberate targeting and killing and hostage taking of civilians within Israel. What we have seen in response since October 7th, and sorry, I must say that's also a breach of international law, what happened on October the 7th. What we have seen every single day since October 7th is a breach of international law by the Israelis. And of course, virtually every single day prior to October 7th, the Israeli government have breached international law. They have occupied Palestinian land in contravention of international law. They have blockaded Palestinian territory in contravention of international law. They have built and enlarged settlements in contravention of international law, enforced an apartheid system that strips Palestinians of the most basic civic and human rights, not to mention natural dignity. And they have also targeted and killed and injured civilians on a mass scale for decades. And the response of the Western world at this time is what? Israel has a right to defend itself. Well, what exactly does that mean? Because the way that that's been interpreted, the way Israel takes that to mean, is that they can cut off food, that they can cut off the power, that they can cut off water, that they can enforce the displacement of over 1 million citizens in what has been described by NGOs and United Nations reps on the ground as an open-air prison.
So what do you think it should mean?
Well, what I think
and when Israel talks about wanting to destroy Hamas, do you agree with that?
What I think, to answer the question, I was struck yesterday by an open letter that was signed, amongst others, by the former President of the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom, Lord Neuberger. The letter was signed off by those who identified themselves as Jewish and as lawyers. And what they cautioned against was international law being flouted once again. What they said was that the right to defend yourself is defined within the confines of international law. And where Israel is grieving, where Israel is hurt, there is an even bigger onus on self-identifying friends of Israel, like the British government, like the American government and other Western governments, to be critical friends and to say that there comes a time when cutting off power, cutting off food, cutting off all of the basics that people need.
Okay, but let me just ask you again, because one of Israel stated. Hang on. One of Israel stated. It is, but let me just ask. You didn't answer my question. No, John, you didn't answer my question. No, I want you to answer this question. No, John, I want you to answer this question. One of Israel's stated aims is to destroy Hamas. Do you agree with that?
The stated aim of Israel may well be that they say to destroy Hamas.
Yeah, I'm asking if you agree with that.
I will answer the question. What I have witnessed, not to mention over the past decades, but let's take the last 10 days, what I have witnessed is a defenceless people getting pummeled from the air by one of the most sophisticated and powerful militaries on this planet.
And you've made that point very powerfully.
By also one of the most powerful militaries in this world. And what we need is the introduction of language that there needs to be dialogue, because none of this that is happening...
So do you agree with that aim or not? Do you agree with the Israeli... I mean, I'll give up in a minute because you're not answering the question, but do you agree with the Israel's aim to destroy Hamas?
I don't think anybody believes that what Israel is doing is going to destroy Hamas, let alone embed the safety within that region.
But do you think they're right to try or not?
The wider world. Well, you can say that. I mean, how many civilians are we allowed to watch die?
No. Listen, I'm not saying whether it's right or I'm just asking whether you agree with their aim.
Israel will have an aim and an objective that it is defined by. The point is that international law and human rights standards cannot be thrown out the window.
Okay, and you've made that point very strongly and very eloquently. I hear you.